You're listening to LCC Alumni Stories, a show dedicated to highlighting the amazing alumni of Lansing Community College. I'm Steve Robinson, president of LCC, and on each episode, I have the awesome privilege of getting to know one of our many inspiring alums and hearing about their experiences at and since leaving LCC. The LCC alumni community is expansive and far-reaching. They're an incredibly diverse group of people, representative of all walks of life, working in hundreds of industries across the country. LCC Alumni Stories shines a bright light on alumni who make a positive contribution to their community and showcases those who have overcome obstacles and barriers to achieve academic and personal success. These are their dynamic stories. My guest today is Rita LaMoreaux. Rita received an associate degree in humanities from LCC in 1999 and earned a bachelor's in liberal arts and master's in public administration with a nonprofit concentration from Western Michigan University. With a 20-year history of helping others start and efficiently run nonprofit and small businesses, Rita is the owner of Lacor Consultants, a nonprofit management and administration firm. She's very active in the community, and I'm really excited she's here. Rita, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad I can share my love of LCC to other people.
Well, this is the place to do that. Our podcast, Alumni Stories, is designed just to do that. So we were talking before, you have a bunch of family touch points here at LCC. When did it all start for you to be associated with Lansing Community College?
Well, personally, myself, I started right after I got kicked out of Western Michigan. So that was 1990.
But you went back.
Yes, I did.
We'll get there. Okay, so things didn't start off so great at Western.
No,
okay.
And I can kind of tell you why.
All right.
My mother knew that I would do better in smaller classes.
Okay.
She knew that I would not thrive in a big school, and she encouraged me to go to LCC. But being an 18-year-old girl, you never listen to your mother.
Ah.
So I went to Western Michigan for a year, and I did not do very well. And I came back and ended up at LCC, just like my mother said I would.
Interesting how parents often, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and that's the worst part. I had to admit she was right. But she was right, and I thrived here. I took classes in all the history classes. I took all the humanities classes. I learned art history from that amazing art history instructor. I can't remember her name now. And I basically just learned.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it for a degree at the time. I just did it for my own personal learning while I worked 2 jobs.
Uh-huh.
And I ended up getting a degree in 1999 because my sister was getting her degree.
Okay.
And so we were able to walk together.
You did. You and your sister walked together at LCC commencement.
We did.
That is so cool. Where was it that year?
That year it was at Breslin Center.
Phenomenal. You know, that's where we normally have it, and we couldn't this last time because of COVID, but I'm really looking forward to it. And that must have been special to do that with your sister.
It was great. A couple of years later, I had another sister go back to school and get her associates. And I think we have 3 or 4 of us out of 8 kids that have associates here. And we had all 8 kids took classes here.
Fantastic. So
Yes.
you're one of 8.
Yes.
And all of you took classes at LCC.
All of us took classes. My parents both took classes here. My dad started teaching here in the mid-70s.
Okay.
After he got his master's in business. So he taught the Saturday morning intro to business class for 30 years.
No kidding.
Yeah, and he taught a lot of the marketing classes. He taught with Bill Motz, who's still here.
Okay. Great.
Then my mom took classes as she wanted to. She took writing classes. The most important class she took was architecture, and she took that in order to design the house that I still live in.
What? So she designed a house that you guys built, and you live in it?
I still live in the house that my mom designed when she took an architecture class here at LCC.
Where is your home? Where you live?
North Lansing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, Northwest Lansing. It's pretty amazing because I love telling people that my mom learned at LCC her architecture, and she designed her house from it.
That is really cool. That is
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, I live in a house on campus, but I think that's even cooler. That somebody who learned at LCC designed a house that you built it. What was her interest in architecture? Did she go on to design other houses?
No, actually, she was an English major. She had a bachelor's in English from Marquette University.
Okay.
But
Yep.
they had 8 kids and not enough money to build a house for 8 kids. So they figured out how to design one and build one really cheap. My dad did a lot of the work on it. And so that's the only thing she ever really designed.
So this house is designed for this big family that you come from. So this is like the LCC house. It was designed for. That is really, really cool.
It really is.
I love that story.
It's 1971, but not 100 years old like your house. But
no. I mean, yeah, I'm very fortunate to live where I do. But what a cool thing. So in 1971, someone who learned architecture here designed a house for their family, and everybody ended up going to LCC.
Yeah. Well, you could kind of say I was raised at LCC because I was born in 1971 while they were building the house.
Oh, okay, great.
So that's how deep my connection goes to LCC.
So, and that set you up for, so you come back from Western after a not so great start in Kalamazoo, come back here, follow your interest in taking these courses in the humanities and art history, but you went back to Western.
Yes, I got to a point where, I had my associates, and I was looking for a better job and found I needed the bachelor's.
Okay.
So I was able to go to Western, and because I had such a love of learning that I got through LCC, I ended up finishing my bachelor's and then just going on through my master's. So I got the master's in a year and a half after that.
Fantastic. So, but it sounds like LCC was the difference between those two starts at Western Michigan.
It was. I was not ready for the big programs at schools, and I needed the smaller environment. I needed teachers that cared about me, and I needed to not be a number in a big school. And LCC made that difference. Because I had times that I wanted to stop and not go to school, but I had teachers and administrators at LCC that would make sure I would go to class, and they would make sure that I would sign up for classes.
I love hearing that, because that is one of our value propositions of being a community college. Is we have the smaller class size, and we have great faculty and staff who are focused completely on student success. So what I'm hearing you say is those folks kind of helped you stay on path to finishing, getting that associate's degree. And that, it sounds like that made all the difference.
It really did. It was great. And I got one of my favorite jobs out of LCC too. I was walking through one of the halls, and they had a jobs board, and I was able to get a job at the Turner Dodge House in Lansing because I got it at the jobs board here.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And so our conversation already has this theme of houses. So tell me what you did, because if our listeners don't know, the Turner Dodge House is one of these amazing historical homes in Greater Lansing. Tell me about that job. What did you do there?
I did all of the educational programs. I helped. We had kids come through. We had groups of adults come through. But I mostly did the school education programs, which I loved. So I was able to reconnect with schools and with curriculum. We did connecting with LCC because at the time I started there, the Turner House was still here on campus, which they tore down years ago.
So tell me about that. It was just the Turner House, and what part of campus was it on?
It was actually behind the Herman and Rogers Carrier houses.
So where HHS is right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it was right there. It was an old house. So we had a connection to that house. So I would teach about that house and the connection of the family that lived in the Turner House.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want to come back to the Turner Dodge House, but can you teach me anything about the Herman House? Did you do any tours there?
I did not. I loved when they remodeled it, though. I was able to go into that before they remodeled it. I know the alumni committee the alumni association was in one of those buildings before they did the big remodel.
Correct. Yeah.
But I love the history of that strip, and I know that they were merchants. I think
they were tailors, and you
tailors.
know the word merchant was in their business. It was called merchants tailors. Yeah. So. Well, very cool. But I want to come back. So I think I have this right. Turner Dodge House, was it designed by Darius Moon?
Yes, very good.
All right, great.
Good.
Because Darius Moon also designed the Rogers Carrier House.
Okay, I knew there was a connection, but I cannot remember. It's been a while.
There is, and for our listeners who come by campus, if you drive down Capitol, the Rogers Carrier House is the really kind of flamboyant painted lady Victorian house.
Yes, it's beautiful.
It is, and if you look, the weather vane on the top of the kind of rotunda or the dome, it actually has the initials DM, Darius Moon.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
that is really cool. Yeah, he designed probably, I forgot what the number is. It was over 100 houses here in Lansing. There's still some downtown, that one. There's one over on the west side, and he did quite a few in Delta Township also.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I know that he was the designer for the Olds mansion that was torn down for the highway, right?
I really wish I had seen that. That was torn down before I was born.
Yeah,
but
I think it was
amazing.
in the 60s. But you know what I noticed, if you haven't seen it, over at the Oldsmobile Museum, there's a model of the house.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's very cool. One of the folks who is involved with that museum built the model, and actually kind of inspired a project. I want to build a model of the Herman House. I think it'd be really fun.
You know, it's funny. Darius Moon is kind of the type of person that would have gone to LCC. He taught himself how to be an architect.
What a great thing!
Yeah.
So you think he'd be one of our students because he's kind of a self-taught person?
Yes, yeah, entrepreneur, self-taught.
That's very, very cool. So when you were at Turner Dodge, you were sort of like an education person, a docent. You taught school kids about the house?
Yeah, I did all of the school kid programs, all of the education programs. I taught Lansing history there.
Nice.
And that was actually, I taught Michigan history. I did tours at the State Museum, and then that led into Turner Dodge House. So downtown Lansing is a great love of mine.
Oh, and I love it here too. And I tell you what, I've only been here for a few months, but living downtown is cool. And even in spite of COVID, there's just a lot going on here. We got a new grocery store. There's places to go and get food just walking distance. My family and I are going to be really, really happy here.
It was amazing the transformation. I started here in the 80s and the downtown was still pretty dead. It was after everybody moved to the suburbs. And so over the years, watching it just blossom to the downtown it is now is great to see the students out and enjoying themselves and just people out on Washington Avenue. Just communing.
Yeah,
it's great.
It is great, and we're proud at LCC to be such an important part of that. You know, we're sort of that end cap of Washington Square, right? And particularly since we've done a lot of the public art and the building renovations, this is one of the nicest college campuses in the country. So I want to come back to your journey, though. So you then go to Western and quickly. You know, very different than the first try, right? You finish your bachelor's degree, you move on with momentum into the master's degree in public administration. Talk to me about your work with nonprofits. What are you doing now? What is Lacor all about? Tell me about that.
Okay, well, actually, after I got my master's, I ended up working in political news for a few years. And then I went to the insurance industry. I worked in the insurance for the Agents Association.
Okay.
But that brought me back to my love of teaching students. I was helping students find their way into insurance jobs. And I would go into the schools, and I helped start a nonprofit for the insurance industry for career development for young people.
Oh.
And that brought me back to what I really love is helping nonprofits thrive. I helped getting them started. I had an appointment before this where I was helping someone map out her new nonprofit. And I love watching people take an idea and thrive with it. So I wanted a change last year. And I decided I wanted to start my own consulting business.
Okay, great.
Helping people start their nonprofits. I also help people start small businesses.
All right.
And that is what I wanted to do, and it's worked out wonderfully. So I have become an entrepreneur.
Great.
I also am an adjunct professor here at LCC, and I got a lot of the spirit because I know through my training at LCC, I can do multiple different aspects. And so I am able to help nonprofits with grant writing, fundraising, but a lot of it goes back to Turner Dodge House in Lansing.
Really?
And that's where I started working with nonprofits. And it's just my favorite thing to do.
So it sounds like, because I can only imagine, but I want to ask you, I would imagine that your clients, the folks that you're helping, they probably have great ideas about the impact they want to have in the community, but probably not as many well thought out ideas for kind of a business plan, sustainability, finances, marketing. And so I'm guessing that's what you're helping them with.
Yes, that's where I come in, because I've had so many years helping nonprofits with their bookkeeping, with their government paperwork, administration. I excel at all of that, so I can do every aspect of a nonprofit. And so where I come in is I analyze what they need, where they need to go, and what help they need, and I fill those gaps for them.
Well, that sounds like a very valuable resource for the community, because the more people we have with creative ideas to make an impact, the better. But if they can't make a go of it, because I would imagine, you probably know the numbers, I would imagine a lot of nonprofits fail in the first few years.
They do. It's much like small businesses.
Is it?
If
Okay.
they survive 5 years, it's amazing.
Okay.
But it takes a lot of drive, a lot of passion, and you just have to keep moving forward. COVID has changed a lot of things for the nonprofit world.
How has COVID changed it?
Well, a lot of the funding moved at the beginning of COVID.
Okay.
A lot of the groups that normally would get grants from foundations, they were unable to get those because the foundations changed funding to be COVID funding and COVID focused. So I've been helping a lot of nonprofits just keep going and not switch their focus, but make sure that they're still working and still going when this is all over.
Interesting. I mean, this is a technical aside, but are nonprofits, were they eligible for any of the PPP funding that came through with COVID?
Yeah, actually they were.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yep, I have a couple nonprofits that are my clients, and they were able to get the PPP loans.
Well, that's good, because my understanding is those will be almost completely forgiven, right?
Yes.
That end up being like grants. Well,
They are. Yep.
What a lifeline you must have been for those nonprofits, because they're so focused on their work and they need somebody to think through the administrative stuff.
Yes, and that's where I come in, because I love doing the administrative side of it.
So the public administration masters at Western, did you pick up a lot of tools about how to do this in that program? Was that helpful to you?
Yes, actually it was. And I got the Masters of Public Administration here in Lansing. It wasn't at the University Center at the time. It was here in Lansing, but I did it at night, and I took classes at LCC to finish up.
Really?
Yeah. So
we helped you get your master's degree
you
too.
You did. Yep.
Oh,
you did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but the master's with the nonprofit concentration did help, because I was able to learn grant writing through the master's program.
Good.
I was able to learn the government channels you have to go through. So that master's program is really what led me to this idea that I could have my own business doing this.
Well, and that entrepreneurial spirit is something that I do see in community college grads. I mean, there's something about our experience here at a community college that I think lights a spark in folks. And it sounds like that happened for you and your family. It's hard to imagine a family that's been more deeply engaged with us. With that, all 8 of you took classes here.
Yeah, my oldest sister did the theater classes.
Okay, great.
My brother was a genius, and so my mother was able to get him college classes while he was in high school. And this is before you did that,
right?
And my other brother did a photography program here, and so all of us have different interests. So LCC was able to take all of those interests, and there was a program for them.
That's fantastic. Tell me about your adjunct teaching. So, with this master's degree, you're part of our adjunct faculty. What classes are you teaching? And tell me about that.
Well, I've only been an adjunct for over a year.
Okay.
A little over a year. When I decided to start my own business, I had talked to a couple of folks over at BCI, because I had been working with them with insurance careers in high schools.
Okay.
So I had some connections there. So I have just recently, the class didn't go, but I was doing a relationship class, relationship building in business class.
Oh, okay.
So teaching people how to connect with other business people, and especially during COVID.
Yeah.
Because right now it's very hard to know how to connect with each other.
Right.
And how to build your business with COVID too is very hard. So I have a class for that.
And that's through BCI?
Yes, through BCI.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and it must be online now.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything is online.
Right.
Yes. So I've been taking classes myself through LCC. I took a class this summer on how to teach online.
Well, yeah, good. And you know, and we in short order ramped that up because so many people needed to do it. Every community college in the country had to turn on a dime to get things offered remotely. So thank you for doing that. Well, in terms of what entrepreneurs and small business owners need to do, you and I connected through Rotary. I'm guessing service clubs is a good way, right? So what are if our listeners, who any of them who might be aspiring entrepreneurs, what would your short list of recommendations be? The kind of things that you would teach in your class?
Well, I always tell everybody, go find a Rotary club, because that's my great love.
Oh, good.
Because I am well connected with the Rotaries around here, because they are service oriented. They build both the business network while doing service.
Right.
Kiwanis is also that way.
Mm-hmm.
But during COVID has been hard for people to connect through business because everyone switched online.
Mm-hmm.
I started my business last year. I immediately joined the Lansing Chamber. I started going to the smaller chamber groups.
Mm-hmm.
Around Lansing, there's 4 or 5 different small chambers. You have Meridian Area Business Association, Delta Side Business Association. So there's small chamber groups plus the big chamber groups, Michigan Chamber, and Lansing Chamber.
Right.
So you have those groups, but you also have the groups like Rotary.
Mm-hmm. And
then there's other groups like the Lansing Women's Forum.
Lansing Women's Forum.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
There's actually 3 women's groups in Lansing.
Okay.
Athena Wen, Lansing Women's Forum, and I can't remember the other one.
Okay.
But there's groups just for women.
Excellent.
So you find all of these business networking groups, but if you're not used to, you don't know where to find them. But my thing is, find what interests you
Mm-hmm.
and what groups you fit in with. So you were in the talk on Monday at the East Lansing Rotary.
Right.
And one thing I heard you say is that the Toledo Rotary was a little too big.
It was. It's the 10th largest in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
and when I would go to Rotary in downtown Toledo, there were literally hundreds of people there.
Yeah, so what I was going to do was tell you, you have to find one that works for you.
Yeah.
If you're out networking, you need to find where you're a fit.
Yeah.
And so the Lansing Rotary downtown, I love the people. I know a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a little too big for me.
Is it? Okay.
So my Rotary is based in Delta Township, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
That's my home base.
Yep.
So
That's out there by West Campus.
it is.
Yeah.
Yep. And we've actually met at West Campus before.
Good. I hope you can meet there again.
Oh,
Yeah.
we did a tour of the robotics place. Yeah.
That is the best
it's
robotic.
amazing.
Oh my gosh. It's so cool. In fact, we shot a live presentation from there a couple weeks ago. It's a really special place.
Oh, when that opened, my Rotary Club did a tour of it.
Good.
And I just love it. But what I tell people is, you have to find a place that's comfortable for you, but also serves your own needs,
Yeah.
besides your business needs. And that's the groups that I belong to are the ones that do that. They serve me personally and professionally.
Well, that kind of service engagement and civic engagement seems like something that really developed with you when you were here at LCC.
Oh, it definitely did.
Well,
Yeah.
Rita, this has been a phenomenal conversation. I've loved connecting with you, and I want to thank you for coming on LCC Alumni Stories.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy to be here. I love LCC, and I'm glad to tell the world.
This episode of LCC Alumni Stories was recorded and engineered by Steve Robinson in the Michigan Room at LCC's downtown campus and produced virtually by Brock Elsasor from LCC's digital media, audio, and cinema program. The soundtrack is licensed to the college through DeWolf Music. Thanks for listening. Tune in to future episodes and learn more about what our alumni have been up to. If you're an LCC alum and want to share your story, send me an email at steve_robinson@lcc.edu. Until next time, keep learning This has been LCC DMAC, Lansing Community College Digital Media, Audio, and Cinema.